everybody, and welcome to Kickstarter update number 8. We're September 14th. There's sun shining outside here in Belgium, which is a first in the last couple of days. We are 16 days away from finishing our Kickstarter campaign, so we're above mid-campaign now. It's going fantastic. We're heading in the direction of the Hall of Echoes, which is going to be really cool. And today has been declared a day of the Dwarven race. And there's a very good reason for that, because somebody started insulting us over Twitter and Facebook. Alright man, it's really simple, okay? So we're gonna strike first, like this and like this. But we pretend that it was us who were attacked by them. You got it? Okay, let's get to it. For Larian! And obviously, we decided this would be a perfect opportunity to focus on our dwarves and then teach them a lesson with your help. Let's start with the dwarven lore and have a look at what Jan, our lore master, has to say about our dwarves. But before we do that, I would like to spend a little bit of attention on something that these two guys are doing over here. This is Octave and Larian. They are... hello, Octave.
Hi.
Hello, Larian.
Hello.
They are responsible for deciding when is Divinity Original Sin the Enhanced Edition ready for release. And by the looks of it, they're very close to it. Octave, how are we doing?
Well, we're in regression now, so we're testing all the fixed issues.
You're in regression?
Yep.
Alright. You mean the version is in regression?
Yes.
Yes, okay, alright. And you are fixing bugs which... No, you reported bugs, programmers fixed them, and now you're testing if they are fixed. Okay, and how's it going?
Okay so far.
Okay.
We're having trouble finding new bugs, so...
That's really good. So that means that we're going to actually manage to make it in time?
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're still on track for October. So.
That's fantastic. Voila, there you go. So that answers the question that we've been seeing pop up on Twitter and on Facebook and in our forums. Original Sin the Enhanced Edition is on schedule for an October release. If nothing else pops up in the coming weeks, we should make that date. And obviously we'll make a lot of noise about it once we are 100% sure of what the exact release date is going to be. That all said, let's head over to Jan and let's have a look at what he has to say about why our dwarves are super cool. So before we start, Jan and me had a small chat this morning because he has this tendency of talking for a very, very, very long time when it comes to lore, and he promised that he was going to keep it short, since his dwarf days get it short. Let's go. Jan, can you give us a short update about how the dwarves are doing? Just short.
I can certainly try, Swen.
Yeah. So how? What are the different types of short dwarves we have?
The dwarves that we have, they all come from the Dwarven Empire. Mm-hmm. So most of the dwarves come from there, obviously. But of late there have been a lot of economic refugees, and these people, they flock to other countries in Rivellon.
That's like the dwarves that we see in the demo in Prospect Town, the ones that are refugees. And what? So they're refugees, okay, that makes sense. I can imagine something with that. But what about the guys in the Dwarven Empire? Where does this empire come from in the first place, actually?
Well, before there was a Dwarven Empire, the dwarves consisted of bands of tribes that were loosely connected, but these were conquered by foreign overlords and were semi-enslaved almost. But after a long time, a warlord rose to the occasion, and he is called Tenax. He united the dwarves, and they fought the overlords, and in the end they managed to overcome them, to vanquish them, and from that the Dwarven Empire was born.
And that explains their motto also, never to be humiliated again, I guess. Okay.
And never to be disunited again.
And never to be disunited again, alright. So, how are the relations to the other empires? And more specifically, because the start of the game takes place in Divine Order territory, what's the relation between the dwarves and the Divine Order?
The relation between the dwarves and the Divine Order is kind of complicated because the dwarves have a new empress, well, semi-new empress, and she has come to power thanks to the Divine Order. They have helped her push her brother off the throne, and he was a weak emperor, so most dwarves actually like this. But then, of course, the caveat was that they had to adopt the Divine Order rules, and especially their kind of fundamentalist view of religion that they have.
Yeah, this is basically they don't tolerate use of the source. All source users should be purged, and our players obviously happen to be source users, so they're in trouble, even in dwarf territory then.
Exactly.
All right, they're safe nowhere. Oh, maybe somewhere. All right, thank you very much for this little dwarven update. And let's go and have a look at the artists, what they are doing with our dwarves. Okay, you ready, Thomas? Let's go. Okay, let's go. Now, as we're approaching Joachim, who's going to show us some of his dwarven art, we can actually pass by Tanya sneakily, and she's going to be doing her thing. She's working on the Hall of Echoes. So, quick sneak peek at what the Hall of Echoes is going to look like. But don't tell him, because Joachim is going to be mad at me because he doesn't want unfinished concept art out there. So we're not going to tell anybody. He never watches these videos anyway. All right? Okay, so we'll just pass by. This is Tanya. Look, a bird. All right. And we're here with Joachim.
Hello.
Hey, we're talking about the dwarves today.
You are.
Definitely not about the Hall of Echoes. Definitely about the dwarves. Oh, what's that? I didn't see that flag before. That's cool.
So yeah, these are the dwarves. We split them up in two types. There's civilians and there's armors. There's also male and female.
Yeah.
So these are the dwarves that have metal
detail,
armor on, and the thing is that everything on these dwarves is customizable. So you can just change everything in there, whatever you want. I can show that if you want.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Zach, can I see that? I didn't see that yet. Is that like a dwarven emblem?
That's the banner for the dwarves. So
Wow.
we tried to make faction flags for all the factions and all the. So they all have their own unique. So when you go somewhere, you immediately know where you are.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. So, I seen the thing here. Don't tell them what it is, don't tell them what it is, but it's cool that it's in there. I like it. Okay, so what are you showing us now?
So you can, if you have a dwarf armor,
Yeah.
the characters are built in such a way that
There's no lighting and shading that is like on that.
This is just a preview window.
There you go, preview. Primitive preview.
The cool stuff is that we can add a lot of different layers, and then we can swap between them.
Is that dwarf hair?
Yeah. So when they're naked,
Chest hair?
they look like this. They look
Okay,
like
cool.
this, and then you can dress them up any way you want with civilian or armored outfits.
Alright, cool.
You have helmets.
So when I'm going to be playing the game and I find like chain armor, and I'm a dwarf, right? And I take my chain armor and I say to like Thomas, who's a lizard, right? And I say, Thomas, here's my plate mail or my chain mail. Will Thomas be able to wear it?
Yeah, so we set it up like we have four kinds of armor. We have plate, chain, scale, and leather armor. So whenever you have a leather armor and you give it to a lizard or dwarf, he will wear its own leather armor with its own unique look, but it's all interswappable. We don't want you to find, as a dwarf, we don't want you to find the lizard armor that you cannot wear. So we can always wear everything you find. The looks will be different, but the stats will be the same.
Yeah, that makes sense, because otherwise it would be too cumbersome if it would like be race-specific armor, something that we discussed for a long time. It would have been more realistic, but it wouldn't be a lot of fun. So, okay, cool. Well, the dwarves are certainly shaping up to look nice. And then obviously we have the entire dwarven architecture that goes together and matching outfit with these dwarves, so it's going to be pretty cool. So that's the dwarves. We obviously, as I mentioned at the beginning of this update, we were recently insulted by some other dwarves. And so we're going to need your help. I mean, there's been something going on Twitter and on Facebook. Just check it out. You'll see it. Yeah, you'll see that the language is escalating. So we figured that maybe with your help, we might counter the sudden attack, which came obviously out of nowhere. That's it for today. Next update, I hope I'm going to be able to announce the Hall of Echoes to you. We're getting very close to it. And then what happens afterwards, we shall see. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. I'm going to go off and do some more YouTube streams, Twitch streams, and so forth. And obviously, we'll be announcing through our social media channels whenever those things are live, I guess. All right. Bye-bye. Cheers.